Hello guys and girls, this is Wager Detective here, June 18th, 2026, reporting live from Tropicana, Atlantic City. We're going to cap this Guardians versus Brewers game, the finale of the series here. The Guardians are coming in at plus 124 and the Brewers are coming back at minus 146. The over-under is set at 7.5, minus 104 to the over, minus 118 to the under. All those odds per FanDuel. Be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Set alerts on Twitter and subscribe on YouTube. And Wager Detective loves all his fans. Let's get into this cap. The Guardians this year, a 39-35 team. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They're 16-9 versus left-handed pitching, and they're an 11-11 team in one-run games. Now, the Guardians in road day games this year, not that good. They've only played 12 road day games this year. They're 4-8 in those games, 7 over, 5 under. They're scoring 3.17 runs per game to 4.75 for their opponent. That comes out to a 7.92 runs per game average, and they're losing those games by 1.58 runs per game average between their wins and losses in those games. In their 12 road day games this year, the Guardians have scored 2 or less 6 times, and their opponents have scored 5+ 7 times. So, not good road day games for the Guardians this year. Now, if we look at what they've done last 9, doesn't get much better. They're 3-6 in their last 9 games, 4 over, 5 under. They're scoring 3.11 runs per game to 4.66 for their opponents. That comes out to a 28-42 run scored disadvantage. They're losing those games. Between their wins and losses, they're minus 1.56 runs per game average, and the total's coming out to 7.78 runs per game average over those last 9 for the Guardians. So if we look at what they're doing in road day games, 4-8, we look at what they're doing last 9 overall, the numbers between what they're scoring and their opponents are scoring are almost identical. It's getting close to that 8, but it's right around that 7.5 to 8 point range between the Guardians' last 9 and their 12 road day games this year. Now, against the interleague, in their interleague matchups this year, they are 11-12, 12 over, 11 under. They're scoring 3.78 runs per game to 4.30 for their opponents. That comes out to 8.08 runs per game average. So all the metrics there, you look at the Guardians, and it's amazing that they're even in the position they are, because as we get further into this cap, they just do not have the hitting. And as you can see there, they don't have DeLauder in their lineup, who is one of their better hitters, and we'll get into that as we go. So again, Guardians 11-2 in interleague play this year. Now, they're looking to be swept on the road here, and it doesn't get better here for them either, because they haven't been in a position to be swept on the road this year, but going back to last year, they are 1-5 in their last 6 games where they're on the road and looking to be swept, losing the first 2 on the road, and then the opportunity to be swept in that third game. They're 1-5 in their last 6 chances to avoid the sweep on the road. They're scoring 1.83 runs per game to 3.5 for their opponents. That comes out to 5.33 runs per game average, and between their win and their losses, that's minus 1.66 runs per game average over that 6-game stretch. So, and also in those games, in those 6 games, the Guardians were shut out 3 of those games, and two of the other games they scored 2 runs or less in both those games. And only the one that they did when they did come out and they beat Boston 8-1. So if you look at everything so far for the Guardians, the only thing that's looking good for them is their record on the year. And they are 16-9 versus left-handed pitching, which they will be seeing today in Shane Drohan. So there's a couple bright spots, but there's more to kind of look at where you're like, it's not really looking good. Okay, so if we get to see who's on the mound, Parker Messick's going to be on the mound. The Guardians are 2-3 in his last 5 starts. A 3.33 ERA, 1.30 WHIP, and he's giving up one home run per 9 over his last 5 outings. And the Guardians have lost 3 straight of Parker Messick's starts, so something to keep in mind there. But there's a little bit of a bright spot here. When he starts on the road, the Guardians are 4-2 in his when he starts when Parker Messick starts on the road this year. The wins came against some impressive teams: the Dodgers, the Braves, the Tigers, and Phillies. And ironically enough, the 2 losses were against Texas and the Athletics. But in 6 road starts this year, he has a 2.38 ERA, 1.09 WHIP, but he is giving up 1.58 home runs per 9. And as we get into this cap, the Brewers are not really a home run hitting team. So I do believe that, that he's holding up well, right? 3.33 ERA in his last 5 starts and a 2.38 ERA in his road starts this year with a 1.09 WHIP. Now, on the year, Parker Messick, when he starts, the Guardians are 9-5. He does have a 2.68 ERA, a 1.09 WHIP, and 0.89 home runs per 9. So there's some bright spots for them to be in a position where they could give the Brewers problems, even though the Brewers are hitting the ball pretty well this year, with what they're doing. Now, if we look at what we got going on here now, we're going to look at what Parker Messick has done in day games this year. When he started in day games this year, the Guardians are 3-3, 4 over, 2 under, and in those games, in his 6 road day game starts, he's got a 3.27 ERA, a 1.21 WHIP, and he is giving up 1.36 home runs per 9 in those day games this year. So it's not really that bad, right? There's some bright spots to say, listen, Cleveland looking to avoid the sweep, but they're 1-5 in their last 6 opportunities on the road to avoid a sweep when they're in the position to do that. Doesn't look good, but if you look at the pitching matchup, I like Parker Messick, man. I think he's pitching good. But, when you look at the Brewers, when we get into this cap, they are 15-5 versus left-handed pitching, but you could say the same thing about the Guardians. The Guardians are 16-9 versus left-handed pitching, which they'll see today. So both teams hit the lefties, or winning when the lefties on the mound. Now, let's get into the Brewer side of this cap. So if we look at the Guardians, there's not really much about the Guardians to be happy about when you look at the road day games and you look at their last 9. They are a little bit better when they play interleague games, but they're hovering behind that 3.78 to 4 runs per game average. But when you get to the pitching matchup, I do believe that Parker Messick is somebody that they can rely on in a game like this because of the fact that they support him well when he pitches on the road, and they support him overall when he starts. Like I said, 9-5 the Guardians are when he starts this year, and he's got a 2.68 ERA. Now, you're going against a Milwaukee team that can hit, but I think as we get into this cap, you'll see that there could be value with Cleveland here. Let's get on with the cap. The Brewers, 45-26 on the year. They're having a great year. I mean, they got, you look at that lineup, Churio, Turang, Contreras, pretty solid. They got guys that can steal bases as well. In all those guys that get on base, it could be problems. Having a good year. Am I totally impressed with them? Not really. I don't think they got enough pop in the bat. I think neither one of these teams really got pop in the bat, but when you look at overall as a team, they're formidable, they're decent. Let's get into what the Brewers have done this year. The Brewers this year, home day games, they're 11-3, 7 over, 7 under. In their 14 home day games this year, they're scoring 6.36 runs per game average to 3.14 for their opponent. That comes out to an 89-44 run scored advantage for the Brewers in their 14 home day games this year. Between their wins and losses, they're plus 3.27 runs per game average over that 14-game stretch, and the total's coming in at 9.50 runs per game. Now, if we look at their last 9, you look at what they're doing, again, 6-3 in their last 9, 5 over and 4 under, okay? In their last 9, they're scoring 7.11 runs per game to 3.66 for their opponents. That comes out to a 64-33 runs scored advantage for the Brewers. Plus 3.44 runs per game average over their last 9 between their wins and losses, and the total score is coming out to 10.77 runs per game average. So I could see how people could be looking at this over here with it being set at 7.5. But the books, I don't think, are dumb. Like, I was looking at this and I'm like, this game's got to go over. But as we get into it, let's see what else we come up with. So those first two things in favor of the Brewers. You look at the road day games for the Guardians, 4-8 on the road this year. You look at the Brewers home day games, they're 11-3. You look at last 9, complete opposite. Last 9, Brewers 6-3, Guardians 3-6. Now when we get to interleague, as we said, the Guardians are 11-12, but the Brewers are 21-11 in interleague play this year. They swept the White Sox and the Yankees, guys. Two teams that are probably going to make the playoffs. They can hit well. The Brewers, 21-11 in interleague play, 16 over, 16 under. They're scoring 5.16 runs per game average to 4 for their opponent. Comes out to 9.16 runs per game average. In their interleague play, they've scored 5+ 15 times out of those 32 games. So almost 50% of the time they're scoring 5+ runs. Now, like we said, with Parker Messick, I don't necessarily know if you're going to see that today, even though they hit lefties well. Both these teams hit lefties well, but the over looks like it's too easy to cash, especially after these teams put up runs yesterday. So, with that being said, like I said, all those metrics are adding up for the Brewers in this game, and that is something to be concerned about. But I think as we get into this cap, we will find out that maybe that could be reaching in this one. Now, when the Brewers are in a position to sweep at home this year, they are a perfect 3-0 in their chances to sweep teams when they've won the first 2 games of a home series and looking to win the third. They're scoring 5 runs a game to 3.66 for their opponent. That comes out to a plus 1.33 runs per game plus for them. So they're winning by 1.33 in those 3 average in those 3 games this year when they had a chance to sweep at home. So, and that comes out to an 8.66 runs per game average. Okay, and those chances to sweep at home have come against the White Sox, the Yankees, and St. Louis. All 3 teams are formidable. All 3 teams hit, and they're just they find a way to win. They're that small ball type of team, but I do believe by the end of the year, I do think the Cardinals will be a team that can surpass them, beat them, and find a way to possibly win that division when we get further into that. So that's going to be something to keep in mind going there. So as we look into that, let's take a look at the pitching matchup for the Brewers. Now, Shane Drohan is a lefty. He's only had 4 starts this year, and in those starts, he is 2-2. Okay, the wins came against San Francisco and Colorado. When I say wins, I mean Cleveland is 2-2. I mean the Brewers are 2-2 when Drohan starts this year. But the wins came against San Francisco and Colorado, 2 bottom feeder teams in Major League Baseball. Colorado could come out and hit sometimes, but the losses came against Philadelphia and Boston, which is more on par with a winning team like Cleveland, you know? So keep that in mind. Now, in his last 3 starts, Drohan has a 5.29 ERA, a 1.31 WHIP, and he's giving up 1.18 home runs per 9 over his last 3 outings. On the year, Drohan has a 6 ERA, a 1.50 WHIP, and he's giving up a home run a game. Now, I don't see many guys in that lineup for the Guardians where I'm going to say, And as you can see here, the projected lineup doesn't even have Ramirez in the lineup. You could see they're pegging Arias to play in this series finale, which doesn't really make any sense to me. Both teams are going to be playing tomorrow as well. The Brewers, though, got a little bit more on the horizon as they're going to be going to Atlanta. So if you're looking at a look-ahead, Cleveland's going to Houston. I don't believe this is a look-ahead game for Cleveland. I do believe that it is something where the Brewers are definitely, if you're looking at a look-ahead game, the Brewers could be looking ahead in this game as they're going to be going to Atlanta tomorrow. Now, we got that done. We're looking at the Brewers. The last game of a homestand before they hit the road, they are 5-1 this year. So it's another one to check mark in the box for the Brewers. They're 5-1 in the last game of a series before they're about to hit the road. They're scoring 6.83 runs per game to 3 for their opponent. That comes out to 9.83 runs per game average. And in those 6 games, their opponents have scored 2 or less 5 times. So that's the cap, guys. I mean, when you really look at this, I do believe that there could be seminal value with the Guardians here. I mean, I can see why the line may be the way it is. No DeLauder, no Ramirez. But Shane Drohan is not necessarily the guy that you're going to say is going to, could come out and say, even with the Guardians, give them problems. I mean, even though the Guardians are scoring 3.11 runs per game in their last 9, and they're scoring 3.17 in 12 road day games this year, and only scoring 3.78 in interleague play, I do like Messick. I really do. The metrics show that even though the Guardians are 2-3 in his last 5 outings, he still has a 3.33 ERA. The only thing that's scary is he's given up a home run per 9 over his last 5 outings. But I'm not looking at this team and saying, oh, they're a team that's a home run hitting team, because to be honest with you, they're not. They just got guys that can hit, they can score runs. And if we look at batting average, you're going to have, in baseball, Rocchio is number 58 in baseball with a 265 average. And you got DeLauder, who is number 62, but he's not going to be in the lineup. But if you look at the Brewers, look at these guys. They got Contreras, number 18 in baseball, hitting 291. You got Bowers, number 54 in baseball, hitting 270. But in the projected lineup, as you see on the screen here, I don't see Bowers in there. Terang is number 56 in baseball, hitting 266. He'll be in there. And then you got Mitchell, number 78, hitting 254, and he'll be batting 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll be batting 6. So you got guys there. But if you look at the home runs, you got Martinez, 2 guys that are atop the home run list for the Guardians, Martinez and Ramirez, with 11 and 10 respectively. They don't even look like they're going to be in the prospective lineup for today. But on the other side, the home run advantage for the number 1 home run hitter for the Brewers is Bowers. He coming in at number 39 in all of baseball with 13. Doesn't look like Bowers is going to be in there. Terang, number 55 in baseball with 11 home runs. He'll be batting second. And then you got Chourio, who's coming in at number 69 with 10 home runs. So both those guys, they're 2 main home run hitters, as you see on the screen here, that are going to be in the lineup. There's not going to be a lot of guys that are going to be on base for them. If there's a home run hit, for there to be guys on base, and they're just not a home run hitting team. Now, if we look at RBIs, the Brewers got Bowers, number 20 in baseball, with 46. But again, you don't see him in that projected lineup that is on the screen right now. Now, you got Terang and Contreras, both with 44 and 43. But I don't see anybody in that bottom of that lineup, 7, 8, 9, that could be on base with the way that this guy's pitching, Parker Messick, that you're going to be like, eh. And again, RBIs for the Cleveland, you got DeLauder and Ramirez with 34 and 33 respectively. DeLauder, Ramirez, and Martinez. All 3 of those guys, 34, 33, and 33, all in their top 3 RBI guys, and they're not even in the lineup. So as much as I was looking at the over, the more I'm starting to look at this, I'm seeing value with the Cleveland Guardians here. Now, if we look at who's got saves, we got the number 1 guy in baseball for Cleveland, Cade Smith, who has 23 saves on the year. And then the Brewers, number 17 in baseball, Trevor McGill with 9. So, guys, if I'm looking at this game, I got to be honest with you. I got to really say that I do believe that the Guardians, for what it's worth, and I know the top of that lineup looks pretty tough for these guys, but I do believe that there is value with Cleveland here with Parker Messick on the mound. I don't necessarily trust Shane Drohan. And Parker Messick, in his last 3 outings, the Guardians have lost, but he's 9-5 on the year. Guys, I'm going to call this here. I'm going to call it now. Even without all their main guys projected in this lineup, I do believe that the value play is the Cleveland Guardians here to avoid the sweep on the road. After everything that we said, how they're playing on the road and how they're looking, I think they could break out here. And the thing about it is, they're not having a look-ahead game here as they're going to be going to Houston as much as Milwaukee is looking ahead to beat the Braves. And all those metrics going one way, it could be easy to take the Brewers here as a small favorite, right? They're a small favorite. It's not like you're laying a lot if you wanted to make some serious money, minus 146. So if you're laying 146, you're making $100 on a team that, look at that lineup, Churio, Terang, Contreras. I just believe that Parker Messick is going to pitch better, and I do believe that if these guys can get on base, if the guys that can get on base for them can do what they need to do, I do believe that the Guardians will be in a position where they can win this game. And again, I got the number 1 save guy in baseball. Well, we haven't gotten to see yet in this series, and I believe if he gets a chance to be in a position to save this game, I do believe he will get it done. I believe that they'll win this game, and that's what Wager Detective is going to go with. Now, as far as the over-under, if we had more home run pop in the bats, I would be saying over. But the more I look at this, even though Drohan isn't pitching good, he does have a high ERA in his last 3 outings. I think the sharper play for me is to take the Guardians here to avoid the sweep on the road. And with all the metrics lining up, I think if it does happen, I think this game goes under by the smallest of margins. You could be looking at a 4-3 game, maybe even a 4-2 game. With, like I said, more of a look ahead here for the Brewers than Cleveland, and I think Cleveland just has enough in the tank here to avoid the sweep, even though you don't have a lot of guys in that lineup that are, home run hitters or this, that, the other. So that's going to be the call here. Wager Detective calling the Cleveland Guardians at plus money here to win this game. It's going to be tight. It's going to be close. And then the secondary play, I would say under 7.5. This is Wager Detective. Follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And more than anything else, that guys know Wager Detective is just getting started, and he loves all his fans. I'll talk to you soon.